So it really still is a work in progress. That's the first thing that everyone needs to understand. But we have got clarity on that you are able to facilitate services relating to up and coming property settlements. And what that will look like is that if you have a finance requirement and the banks need to get and do an inspection, if there's a pest and building inspection, if leading up to settlement, the locks need to change, anything around, and the wording is services relating to the up and coming settlement, property settlement. And that also does mean that the agent can go to the property to hand over the keys. I said to somebody yesterday, they asked about how many people could come, and I said, well, really, it should only be the people who are on the title. It's not the time to bring Nana and, your second cousin and your BFF and any of those. So keep it minimal. We've got clarity on end of lease and also commencement of tenancies, because we knew in one part of the directions you could move home. But what they seem to have missed is that how were real estate agents going to facilitate that moving of home process. So around end of lease, and it was interesting, as soon as we highlighted to government that if a property manager can't facilitate an end of lease process, the tenant can't get their bond back, and they were like, oh, okay, we obviously need to make some changes. Interesting that they're the sort of triggers that get them going. But tenants can organise steam cleaning of carpets, general cleaning, any services relating to ending the lease. Where it's gotten a little bit tricky is for property managers, when they go to do that appointment, they have to do everything. And when I say everything, they have to do everything relating to that final inspection, and then think about the new tenancy. So the virtual video, potentially the online tour, the ingoing condition report, the placement of the keys, everything in preparation for that new tenancy.
If I'm a buyer and I want to spend $500,000 on a property, am I allowed to physically see that property before I sign the contract?
No. So at the moment, whilst we're in stage 4 lockdown, you can't physically see the property. But that being said, I've had 2 reports from agents, one in, I think it's in and around the Aspendale area, and one on the Mornington Peninsula. And both agents were able to facilitate a Zoom open for inspection. So the vendor ran the camera and the agent actually talked through the property. On each occasion, I think they had about half a dozen prospective buyers watching the Zoom. And on both occasions, they actually generated a contract. Now, there are still conditions, and I'd suspect one of the conditions is not only subject to finance, but subject to inspection. But